What is up, Sopranos fans? Kino here. I'm back with another Soprano log. Today we're looking at the 5th episode of the 3rd season, Another Toothpick. Now this episode opens up with Tony and Carmela at a group therapy session with Melfi. They brought her in to talk about Tony's panic attacks, but the therapy doesn't go well. She feels like she's there to be a scapegoat for Tony to blame all his problems on, and it just ends up with them getting into a fight. Later on, as they're driving home, Tony gets pulled over by a traffic cop, and he gives the cop a lot of attitude. This is classic Tony. He has a problem with authority. He can't just accept the parking ticket, which, logically he should just take it and pay it. It's not a big deal, but he can't help but give this cop lip and try to get out of it, and the cop ends up writing him up. Later on, Vito's brother Brian is attacked by this guy, Mustang Sally. Mustang Sally's girlfriend was talking to him. He got jealous, and then he ended up hitting Brian with a golf club and ends up putting him in a coma, and he might end up even a vegetable. The guys have a meeting, and they decide it's time to whack Mustang Sally. He's a troubled kid. He's been getting into a lot of fights with people. He's a whack job, and they decide this is the last straw, and they're going to get rid of him. Later on, they're at a funeral for Carmela's uncle Febby, who died of cancer. At the funeral, Tony sees Bobby Sr., Bobby Bacala's dad. He's an old man who's been in the life for a long time, a real tough guy, a reputation as like this ruthless killer. And Tony talks to him about Mustang Sally because Mustang Sally is his godson. Bobby Sr., though, doesn't care about him. He just stood up as a favor for his old man, and he's fine with Tony having him whacked. However, Tony learns that Bobby Sr. is dying of lung cancer. He's coughing all the time. He's very weak. Janice ends up saying the line of the title, which is, he'll be another toothpick. And this really upsets Junior to hear, a sick old man talked about like this. Later on, though, Bobby tells Junior that Tony is having Bobby Sr. do the hit on Mustang Sally. The plan is that he'll be able to get in close to Mustang Sally because he's his godfather, and they're going to do the hit that way. Now, Bobby's obviously worried about his father because he's incredibly weak, and he's worried that he'll get killed doing this. Junior agrees to talk to Tony and try to convince him not to do the hit, but Tony refuses to listen. He doesn't want to go against Gigi. He doesn't want to undermine him to that crew, especially with Ralphie kind of undermining him already, and so he refuses to change his mind. Meanwhile, Adriana quits her job at Vesuvio. She's been working as the hostess for a while, but now that Christopher is a maid guy, he doesn't want her working anymore, so she leaves her job there. This upsets Artie. At dinner, he gets into a drunken argument with Christopher. It ends up getting physical, and Tony has to break the two of them up. Artie tells Tony that he's in love with Adriana. This is classic Artie. He's going through a midlife crisis, and there's this young, beautiful woman around him. And he falls in love with her. Tony tells him never to say that again because it's just going to cause trouble. But he does treat Artie very gently. Anyone else who had done this, Tony would have kicked their ass. But again, he loves Artie so much that he'll just kind of handhold him through this and, not really take it out on him. Later, Tony calls Zellman. It's funny, he actually uses the name Spears, which that's the name he gave the psychiatrist when he was trying to do therapy with someone when Melfi wouldn't see him. So it's funny they brought that name back. But he is obsessed with this parking ticket. He wants Zellman to get it squashed. He doesn't want to talk about the Esplanade or any of their actual business, but he just can't stand that this cop gave him a ticket. He wants it taken care of. Later on, Junior lies to Bobby. He says that he never talked to Tony. He doesn't want to look weak. He doesn't want to admit that Tony refused to listen to him because Junior is supposed to be the boss of the family still, but he actually doesn't have any power. So he doesn't want to look weak in front of Bobby. But when Bobby Sr. shows up, he sees just how weak the old man is. He's coughing everywhere, coughing up blood, and Junior just realizes he can't do this hit. He might get killed by Mustang Sally. But Bobby Sr. doesn't care. He just wants to be useful for once, and as he sees it, he's dead anyway, so what does it even matter? Junior eventually talks to Johnny Sack and gets him to go try to convince Tony. They talk about this at dinner, and even though Johnny Sack promised Tony he wasn't going to butt in on his business when he moved to New Jersey, we can clearly see that that's what he's doing here. He's getting in Tony's business and making it harder for him. But again, Tony refuses to listen. And of course, Ralphie keeps undermining Gigi, making jokes, and just making him look bad. Later on, Tony sees the cop who gave him a ticket working at this fountain store. Zellman got the cop transferred out of traffic, and now he's has a desk job as a cop, but he's not eligible for overtime anymore, so he has to work this second job just to make ends meet. And Tony feels kind of guilty about this. He talks to Zellman about maybe getting him back, but Zellman tells him that nobody likes him. He's not a likable guy for the other cops, and that he's actually depressed, which I think makes Tony sympathize with him a little bit more, because obviously Tony's the same way. He's depressed as well. Bobby Sr. goes to see Mustang Sally. He goes as under the guise of being a friend, and tells Mustang Sally that he got him a pass. When Mustang Sally's getting him a drink of water, Bacala sneaks up behind him with a gun, but Sally's roommate sees him and alerts him, so it ends up in a struggle. They're both fighting for their lives, but old man Bacala manages to shoot him in the head. He's pretty happy about this. Again, he feels like a man again for once, but as he's driving home, he passes out and ends up crashing the car and dying. And this really, really upsets Junior. He wants to know if the cancer killed him or the car ride did, but he's all torn up by this. Tony, meanwhile, wants to start a line of salad dressing with Artie. At the Esplanade, they're opening up these factories, and he wants to use Artie's recipe to mass produce these salad dressings. Funny enough, it's under the name Satriali's, not Vesuvio, because apparently in marketing, names that start with V remind people of vaginas. I didn't know that, but Charmaine refuses to allow this to happen. She doesn't want any business with Tony at all, just like she always does not want to be associated with the mob. They get into a fight about this, and it eventually leads to Charmaine saying she's going to divorce Artie. This marriage has been troubled for a while, and this is the last straw. Tony goes to meet with Junior at the doctor's office. Junior reveals that he has cancer, stomach cancer. That's why he didn't want Bobby Sr. to do the hit, because in his mind, cancer comes in threes. There was Jackie Sr. who died of cancer, and then Carmela's uncle Febby, and he was thinking that if old man Bacala died of cancer, he would be spared. So that's why he was so upset that the guy died, not from cancer, but from the car crashing. Tony says that he's not going to tell anyone, but the first call he makes is to Janice immediately afterwards, and they end up talking about all the old timers who are now gone. Meadow comes back to the house to do some laundry. She tells them that her bike was stolen by a black guy, and Tony just can't let this go. They've been fighting for a long time about, her associating with black people. And again, he's just making it so much worse by being so combative with her. But funny enough, when she storms off, she takes the lamp with the wire in it back to her dorm. So essentially, the FBI are now left with no wire in the house, which is funny that she ended up saving Tony's ass by removing the wire from the basement. Artie goes to dinner with Adriana. He's still in love with her, and he's trying to, now that he's divorcing Charmaine, he's trying to maybe weasel his way in with her, which is just never going to happen. And it's so cringe that he doesn't realize that. I mean, Artie is so beta, it hurts to watch. He makes it awkward, and, she gets up and leaves. And it's just incredible how pathetic Artie can be sometimes. Later on, Tony meets with Zellman and Johnny Sack to discuss the Esplanade. Zellman tells Tony that he can get the cop reassigned to his old job again if he wants. Tony decides that he doesn't care anymore. The cop got what was coming to him. But we can tell he still feels guilty. So later on, he tries to, give the cop a big tip at the fountain store. But he refuses. He knows that Tony is the one who got him stuck there. And he refuses to take his money and make him feel better. So that's where the episode ends. I hope you guys enjoyed this Soprano log, and stay tuned for the next one, coming soon. Thanks.